University, the voice of Reichman University.
The Baseline. Stories from the court with Jonathan Rears and Nitzana Aron.
What's going on, everybody? This is another episode of the Baseline podcast. It's your host, Jonathan Rears. Got Nitzana Aron here, and we got big man from Apola Emek, Texas, and UVA legend, Kadin Shedrick. Thanks for coming in, man.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me.
So, Kadin, we're going to start it off hot. So let's ask, when the structure of college disappears and you're suddenly responsible for everything on and off the court, what part of being a pro has tested you the most so far?
You know, I give credit to my team, Hapoel Hamek, my coaching staff, and my teammates. I think that's actually been like an incredibly seamless transition. I'm with 5 other Americans now. They're all vets. You know, I'm the only rookie on the team. So even the Israeli guys that have been around the block, you know, we got Neve, we got Roi, Rafi. They've all taken me under their wing, and they've kind of like showed me the way. And at first, it was a little difficult. I would say the hardest part was probably, you know, moving to this new country. I'm looking up at all the signs. There's like Hebrew everywhere. Like it doesn't even like look like anything that makes sense to me. That was the hardest part to me. And so they even helped me with that side of things. They, you know, I would ask them, hey, can you send me some restaurants to eat at? You know, they're sending me places. You know, on the court, you know, if I'm struggling as a rookie, like, you know, they're patient with me. And I think the biggest thing for myself was to just understand that I am a rookie. It's my first year out here, and to, you know, not expect so much right away. Instead, you know, it's going to be, you know, I'm going to have a learning curve, and I'm growing over time. And, you know, as the season goes on, I want to continue to play better. And so, yeah, I mean, I credit, you know, all the staff and players, though, for really making the transition easy for me.
Well said. Like, just like you said, it's first year out here. Got to learn, you know, it's a learning experience. Nitzan's going to run through where you've been at.
Just going to run through real quick your career for the listeners. Started out at UVA playing for the legend Tony Bennett, which is, we're going to have to go into that because that is insane. Transferred over to Texas where you played 2 years there, and now you're in your first year as a pro, Hapoel Hamek.
That's right.
So let's take it all the way back to the beginning. Where did this love of basketball come from?
Yeah, all the way back to the beginning. The love of basketball honestly wasn't there. I was a baseball player growing up. I loved baseball. It was my first love. I really wanted to play baseball in college and professionally. And then, you know, I always played basketball on the side because my dad kind of, you know, he told me, you know, playing 2 sports, you know, what I learned in basketball will help in baseball, and, you know, what I learned in baseball could help in basketball. So it kind of happened after my freshman year of high school. I grew 6 inches in a year, from 6'2" to 6'8". Not sure what that is in meters and all that, but
Nah, we don't.
A lot.
yeah,
A lot.
yeah. So 6 inches, and this AAU program called Garner Road. They're an Adidas program in the U.S., and they approached me and they said, "Hey, look, we'll give you a spot on our team. We can help you get you to college, but you're gonna have to drop baseball." And so, you know, I thought on it for a while. Made the difficult decision to end up quitting baseball and, you know, devoting, you know, my life at that point fully to basketball, working out, you know, 5-6 days a week. And that's kind of, at first I hated it, I'm not going to lie. But, you know, once I started seeing the gains start to happen and playing better, I really started to love it. And that's probably when it started. It was thanks to Garner Road.
Did you find that baseball actually did help you?
Yeah, I think that a lot of the, you know, skills, probably most importantly, like hand-eye contact, hand-eye coordination. I think that helps, you know, catching the ball and all that, you know. You know,
Which
I
is
think
big
there's a lot
for a big man.
It is. Yeah, you want to have good hands, and you want to, you know, track the ball all the way in. You know, hitting a baseball is one of the I think it's the hardest thing to do in sports. So you see that baseball coming from a while away, and you gotta get your hands ready for it. So I think that helps me, you know, catch the ball. I'm sure there's a lot of intangible things I also learned from baseball that I can't really come up with right now that help me for basketball. But
I think that's well said. I think that's facts. I mean, hitting a baseball is definitely the hardest thing in sports. Coming 100 miles per hour, knowing the hand-eye. But
I can't touch 60.
Yeah, right.
I never had to face 100, thankfully. I think the highest I had to face was maybe 85. I was just a freshman in high school.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you spoke a couple of years ago about how that 6-inch growth spurt kind of also took an effect on your hand-eye coordination. A few years later now that we're here, have you felt the difference of like finally growing into your body?
100%. Through that time, I looked like, they would call me like Bambi. Like I just looked like an awkward deer through that time, even throughout a lot of college, I'd say. And over time, I think year after year, like I've looked a lot better in my body. I still think that I have growth to do, in that sense. But I definitely, so far this season, I felt really good in my body. And, I know that there's more things I can do to fill out some and, continue to become more coordinated. So it's definitely a process, and it's hard for somebody that grows that much, like kind of that late, I guess. So, but I think I'm almost there. I'm pretty close.
Yeah. And speaking about growing up in Cali, you like that?
I like that one.
Growing up in Cali, what was like the basketball scene? You said that AAU club approached you. How was the AAU circuit in Cali growing up during your time?
Oh, I grew up in North Carolina.
Oh, North Carolina.
North Carolina, yeah.
Okay.
That's even better basketball.
Yeah, it's
right.
Hoop State. Yeah, it's Hoop State. Yeah, that's what we call ourselves. Some other states.
I don't know why
I
saw California.
Yeah, North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina.
You're from Raleigh?
Raleigh, North Carolina.
Oh,
Yeah.
no way.
Yeah.
All right, bet. So
but,
growing
it's the
up in
Hoop
North
State,
Carolina, yeah.
Yeah,
What was that like?
I had always known growing up that the basketball scene was really big in North Carolina, and so I had a lot of competition around me. I wasn't the number one player in the state. We had a lot of good players. I think Patrick Williams was number one player in the state for my class, and it was a lot to push for. A lot of competition. The high school public hoops in North Carolina, super legit. I never won a state championship, didn't even get to a semifinal, so it was really challenging. And I think that was good. I think that helped me, not being in like a smaller state, like with super low competition. It was a good scene.
You ever match up with Pat?
I didn't. No, he was in the West. He was in Charlotte, so he was in the state championship, and I was not. So
after growing up in North Carolina, having these 4 years of high school, you devote your time to basketball. Now, I'm sure at some point colleges are starting to approach you. What was that whole process like? Finally, actually committing to U of A?
Yeah, the process was actually quite a whirlwind. It was my junior year of high school. I want to say like that spring into summer of senior high, like right before senior year of high school. I got my first offer that spring, and it was cool. At first it was like trickling in a little bit, and then that July Live period came around, and I kind of blew up on the Adidas circuit. I was getting nonstop phone calls, nonstop texts. Like it was a lot to take in because this is my first time doing anything like this. I didn't know anybody around me going through anything like this. So it was definitely difficult, but I had like good people in my corner to help me out through that whole process. And, eventually we cut the list down around August time. And I took 2 official visits, one to Xavier and one to Virginia. Those were kind of the 2 that I was leaning to most because, for starters, Xavier, David West, Pacers legend, Warriors legend. He used to play for Xavier. Mm-hmm. He also was one of the founders of Garner Road, or he's like really, really high up in Garner Road. So I've, worked with him quite a bit. I've talked with him quite a bit, and that's his alma mater, is Xavier. So they were pretty high up on my list, and then Virginia was pretty high up on my list. And, it came down to those 2, and I picked Virginia because I knew that I wasn't in a place where I wanted to be physically to be able to compete at Division I level, and I looked at the schools that I had and saw how well Virginia does with their red shirts, and that's the path I decided to take. Just because they have amazing red shirts, Jay Huff, Mamadi Diakite, Sam Hauser, who we talked about before this, but yeah, they've done really well with their red shirts, and that's how I ended up there.
Talking about David West, what are some of that's got to be an incredible person to have in your corner, especially at such a young age, and you so rapidly shot up, in your recruiting. What were some of the nuggets and teachings that he taught you?
I think at the time I had met David, I was still really, really raw. So a lot of the stuff that I worked with him on was some footwork stuff, like really basic basketball stuff. And that's kind of where he started out with me at. I work out with him, and then my trainer at Garner Road, Gwan Hyman, they would work together to try and, get me more coordinated, moving around better. And eventually, as the years went on, I remember specifically he worked with me on my jump shot quite a bit. But yeah, I mean, it was really just it was really that stuff, really fundamental stuff, because this was really early in my career to become a better basketball player.
So like, how validating was it? Because you said you're in a hoop state. You know, Harry Giles is from the state. He killed it in college and everything. How validating was it to say, like, I'm getting these offers, I'm getting these people who are putting me under their wing?
Yeah, you know, at the time, like, I don't think, you know, again, those offers, like, it was definitely a really cool feeling, but I didn't realize, like, how, you know, unique that is, because not everybody gets to experience that. And, you know, I kind of was just like, okay, like, just moving on to the next day. But looking back on it, like, you know, it is really cool that, you know, there was that much interest in me, that many schools wanted me and all that. And yeah, it was good, you know, looking back on it, it's good to know that I made the right decision. My work did pay off. And yeah, so it's a really cool feeling for sure.
And you did choose Virginia ultimately. You didn't end up going to Xavier. How did Tony Bennett being there, what were the certain things that like made you kind of want to decide Virginia?
Yeah, you know, so everybody, you know, that I had spoken to about Virginia absolutely loved, like, Coach Bennett, loved the coaching staff and all that. You know, we really talk about the pillars at Virginia, and, you know, one of the most important things for me was, you know, I wanted to go into a locker room with a bunch of good guys, like, and that was a really important thing for Coach Bennett, was having good guys in his locker room. So I knew I was going to get there and going to be people like me, people I'd get along with really easily. And then on top of that, you know, basketball wise, like I said, the red shirting thing was a major piece for me, because a lot of schools were trying to tell me, oh, look, you'll come in and play immediately. Like, oh, like we have a spot, we need you right now to play.
So that was something that you weren't interested in?
No. I don't think I would have been able to play, like, ready to play, like, to a high level if I had went to college. And as a freshman, I was on the court. I mean, I was 205 pounds when I got to school, so I knew I had a lot of growth to do. And Coach Bennett had told me it would be up to me. Like, if I want to redshirt, like, I can redshirt. You know, if I want to try and compete for some minutes, I can try and compete for some minutes. And ultimately, you know, I wanted to redshirt like a few weeks before the season. But
that's something that's so unique. A lot of times what we hear is people rushing in to playing. You know, they pick the big program because they want to go play it there and they want to go drop 30 and be a one and done. And it doesn't always work out. So where did this maturity come from to say, I'm not ready for this. I know I will be, but I need this nurturing?
You know, like, I think it had a lot to do with the people in my corner. My parents, when they raised me, they kept me really level-headed. You know, David West, his brother Dwayne West, Gwan Hyman, all those people at Garner Road, they really helped me there. And another big one was my high school coach, LJ Hepp, who was not my coach at any point in high school until my senior year. We hired him, and, you know, he was one of the best coaches I ever had, and he did a lot to help me, like, see the bigger picture. Like, it would have been awesome to go to college and play and do great right away, but what if I go to college and I'm not physically ready? It doesn't go well, and next thing I know, like, I'm moving down to mid-major, low major, all that stuff. So I saw the bigger picture. It also helped that I ended up going to see a lot of ACC basketball games. And I knew what it was going to take, like, to compete as a big man in the ACC and, like, at a Power 5 level in the country. And you know, I sometimes you just gotta look in the mirror. Like, I was a really scrawny kid still, so yeah, I had a lot of work to do, and yeah, so just a lot of good people in my corner to help me see.
And you said you took the 2 visits from Xavier and from Virginia.
Yes.
Going to do those visits, you know, you said that in Virginia there was always good guys in the locker room and stuff. Did you kind of solidify that while you were taking the visit? You were like, oh, these are teammates that I want to have in the future?
I actually took the visits during those, like, 2 weeks in August that, like, the guys end up going home and all that. I had just spoken to, like, Jay Huff. He is from Durham, so, like, really close to me. I remember I had spoken to him about it, and you know, he's amazing guy, one of the best teammates I ever had, and you know, he really told me about how he likes it and all that, and, like, the team's great, and, you know, I got there and the team was fantastic.
So we talked about it already a couple of times. You redshirt your first year and you redshirt with Sam Hauser. Talk about that experience, redshirting. What did you learn? What were some things that you picked up in that first year?
Oh yeah. First and foremost, I kind of learned what it would take to, you know, play at that level in terms of like habits, like, you know, eating right, sleeping right, so I could gain weight, because that was one of the biggest things for my redshirt year. And then also I was able to watch every game. Like I was right there on the bench. I was in the huddles, like all that stuff. Like seeing it like up close is a lot different than being in the stands or being on the couch watching the TV. Like you see like how physical it is. You see how fast it is. So those were two really important things for me during that time. Basketball wise, you know, they had me doing extra lifts. They had me on this massive meal plan trying to eat 5,000 calories a day. It was crazy.
That's kind of tough.
You know, I kind of got burnt out from eating for a little bit there. The lifts were much harder. I would have workouts on game day. I would have workouts after game day with the other red shirts. And I think during all this, it was good to have Sam Hauser redshirting next to me, because I believe, I apologize to anybody if I miss you, but I believe we were the only 2 scholarship redshirts. So, you know, it was good to have him challenge me, to push me. And at the time, I think he was about to be a grad student. So I think he had been in college for a little bit at this time. So it was good to have somebody that had been around the block to show me the way.
So you talk about him being a grad student. I know that you went on later in your career to become a grad student. Was that something that he kind of put in your head from the start?
No, I think it just kind of happened to be, you know, how everything unfolded. Because, you know, my first year eligibility wasn't until my 3rd year of college.
Right.
So, you know, I had played 2 years, and after I had played 2 years, really, I got my bachelor's degree. I was already graduating.
Yeah.
So I had been in college for 4 years, had really played two and a half. And so, I mean, the master's degree was right in front of me. You know, I wasn't in a position where I could be like, oh, yeah, let's go try the draft. I wasn't in any kind of position like that.
Yeah.
I had to have surgery anyways. So kind of just how it happened.
So your first year of college, as we talked about, you redshirted. Virginia won the tourney in 2019,
Correct,
right?
yeah.
So what was it like joining the team the year after?
Oh, yeah. It was really cool to watch, first of all. I remember 2018 when they lost to UMBC, playing ACC basketball wasn't even on my radar. Mm-hmm. I was like, wow, it's crazy. Like, you know, I hope I get to play in March Madness someday. 2019, I go and watch like their whole I didn't go. I was at home watching their whole run. That was amazing to watch. And I feel like for me, it felt like the expectations for me got higher now that they had just won. You know, the expectation now is Final Four national championship, and it made me want to, you know, experience what those guys did. Ultimately, that never happened, and I actually got upset quite a bit in March Madness, but that's a whole other thing. But you know, I wouldn't say there was any added pressure onto that. I think it just made me and my fellow freshmen, I think it made us want more. Want to give the school another national championship and all that, but it never happened. But that's how I felt about it.
Was there something specific about the culture that Tony Bennett instilled?
So Coach Bennett works a lot on the 5 pillars, which it's been a while, so I probably can't remember.
Yeah, don't worry.
Humility, passion, thankfulness, servanthood, and I'm gonna go ahead and keep moving because the 5th one I can't remember. But anyways, yeah. So what he instills in us is, first of all, being like servants, being good people, you know, and then we'll come back tenfold. So, you know, that's the main thing that he does for our culture. On top of that, you know, basketball wise, defense.
Yeah.
Like, you know, everybody has watched Virginia basketball up until this year. It was really about the pack line, and you know, there was multiple times where we held teams under 50 points, which is crazy. But those were the 2 things off the court were the pillars, and on the court defense. We would do defense for probably 80% of practice. So, yeah.
And then coming off of your redshirt year, you know, you have that 11 games because you got sick. You know, your whole redshirt year, you're getting prepared for your first year of college basketball, and then that happens to you. How mentally challenging was that for you?
I think it was incredibly challenging because, you know, I had gone through the whole off season leading up to my redshirt freshman year. You know, I was finally getting to a good weight. I think it was like 225, 230 pounds maybe. Maybe not that heavy. Maybe like 220, 225. I put on like quite a bit of weight during my freshman year. And, you know, I know that there's going to be an opportunity for me to play like some backup 5 minutes behind Jay Huff. You know, and there were some minutes there to earn. And I I felt like I had earned them throughout the off season. And then October came around, and I got sick, and it felt like I kind of just lost everything I had worked for the past year. I lost 22 pounds. I dropped to like 195 pounds, and couldn't really participate in any sort of basketball activities for like a few weeks there. And so that was really hard. It just felt like I had been pushed all the way back to square one. So, I ended up kind of getting it back a little bit, getting sick again, and it was just a whirlwind of a first year playing, and it was definitely tough mentally for sure.
And I'm gonna take a little pause. We're gonna do a little segment now. It's called the Starting Five.
All right.
All right. You're a big baseball fan.
Yeah.
Who are your top 5 all-time baseball players?
All time? Oh boy. Well, I'm gonna throw Fernando Tatis in there because he's my all-time favorite.
Wow.
Did you play short?
Or he's my favorite. I played first base.
You played
I just
first? Okay.
like the kind of swagger he got.
Yeah.
Ken Griffey Jr. He goes in there. Barry Bonds goes in there. People have a lot to say about the steroid use, but
I was gonna say, that's controversial.
Yeah,
as hell.
that is controversial.
at the end of the day, you got to hit the ball, and he did it, and it went over the fence. So the steroids don't help him see the ball. But let's see, who else do I got here? I like Prince Fielder.
Ooh.
I like Prince Fielder.
That's a pull.
That's
Prince Fielder's good.
Yeah, that's a big boy right there.
Yeah.
And then we'll go with like Shohei's got to be in there.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's already the GOAT. So
It's kind of crazy. What he's doing is insane.
yeah, he's amazing.
Do you
awesome.
do you know like baseball like way back then?
How way back? Probably not.
No,
Probably not
I've got
way
a
back.
signature of Ted Williams. If you
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
I
I've-
know who he
Everyone
is.
knows
Yeah,
I've
Ted
got.
Williams.
yeah.
It was one of my like favorite things I have. I have a signed postcard from
That's
Ted
awesome.
Williams. And
That's
it's like-
awesome.
So going back to the basketball, you said that was really mentally challenging, but you were also on a team with Trey Murphy, Sam Hauser, and Jay Huff. It was an elite team, and also you had Kihei Clark for all your years at Virginia, correct? And being alongside these big names who ended up getting drafted, what was it like being alongside them and seeing their work mentality?
Oh yeah, that was big time for me. It was good to come in and get to work with them every day and learn from those guys. They were all vets at this point. I mean, Kie was a sophomore, but he was just coming off a national championship as a starting point guard. So it was good to learn from them. See what it takes to win, see the effort, see the work that it takes to win, and it's cool now to see it pay off for them as well because those guys all earned their way to the NBA. Like Jay earned his way.
For sure.
Sam earned his way.
Jay
like,
grinded.
Trey earned his way. He was. I don't want to speak for Trey, but I'm pretty sure he was like 6'3" his freshman year of high school, and he grew his freshman year of college or something like that. He grew quite a bit in college. He was at Rice, and he came to Virginia, and we were like, cool, it's going to be a good piece for us. He blew up. Went top 20 in the draft. Now he's like this all-star,
he's hooping.
he's near all-star player, and he really worked for it. So, I think Virginia takes a lot of guys that are like we don't get 5 stars at Virginia. We get guys that they want to work and they want to earn their way there, and it works out really well for some players. And it was really cool to see it pay off for all of them.
Something incredible that you just mentioned about UVA is UVA is there to develop a program, and especially nowadays with the NIL. Everyone's going back and forth, moving out, wanting a one and done. If they're not one and done, they want to just keep chasing the check. And UVA has this incredible culture where everyone wants to be there to graduate from UVA, and everyone wants to be there to play the whole thing. So, you start playing really well in your second year of playing, your third year in college. You're playing 35 games, 20 minutes a game. What was that like for you to like officially start really getting to that level mentally after such 2 years of honestly like turbulence?
Yeah, no, it was an awesome feeling. I think I started the majority of the year, so I started that first game of the year though, and super pumped, super excited. I think we're ranked 25 in the country, and we go out, we lose to Navy at home, and so that was quite the way to start that whole journey. But I think it was a cool feeling to be out there, but like a loss like that helps you realize like. Not everything's just gonna be handed to you. Like, cool, we're Virginia. Like, cool, we're supposed to be better than Navy. Like, cool, like all of us are on paper better than them. Mm-hmm. I think that was a wake up call for me that we got to work harder and all that. And it helped me grow throughout that season. We ended up only going to the NIT, but I think that we learned a lot that year together. A lot of that team came back the next year. I think we were a 4 seed in the NCAA tournament, but going through the journey of my first 2 years of college, not playing much, getting sick, redshirting, all that, and then getting to the point where I'm starting in like my first real year playing, that was a really, fulfilling reward. Yeah.
And being the starting player on the team, you're a college player and you're still just a kid, but like you're going into these like big press conferences with all these cameras and you got to be like media trained. What was that like for a college kid going into like this high atmosphere media conference room?
Yeah, it was a lot, because you think back like 6 years before that, I'm like, if you would have told me 6 years ago, I would be in this moment, like I would say you're crazy. So
yeah.
I think for me, it was just taking it, taking each experience and cherishing it. The media training thing was something that you get better at over time. A lot of the times, they told us just be positive, don't say anything bad about anybody, and you'll get there. And then, it can definitely be challenging for young players, but I think Virginia does a good job of, protecting us and helping us in that sense.
And then after you start that first year, you play another year at Virginia, but then you decide you're going to transfer. So what went into transferring, and then why'd you pick Texas?
Right. So I decided to transfer because I had just finished my bachelor's degree at the University of Virginia. I had played 2 years there now. I had played 4 years, but, I played
two full years.
Played 2 full years there now. And I kind of wanted to change a pace. I felt like I had learned everything that I could learn from Virginia at that point. We played really slow at Virginia, and it wins basketball games. But for me, I really wanted to play in a faster, higher tempo offense a little bit. And so, the schools that approached me, Texas seemed like the most, appealing to me on and off the court. Austin's a beautiful city. The basketball-wise, they naturally play faster than Virginia because, Virginia was one of the slowest paces in the country at that point. But
right.
So, for me, I was about to go into bilateral labrum surgery while I was in the transfer portal. And so a big part of my decision was, where do I think I can be happy without basketball? Because I wasn't going to be able to play basketball for 7 months. So, I go and see Austin. There's so much to do outside of basketball. Like, there's amazing people there and all that. And I, sat there. I was like, cool. Like, I think I can be happy here if I woke up and basketball wasn't, a thing in my life tomorrow. Yeah. And that's how I eventually ended up to pick Texas. Because I knew once I was healthy, the basketball would be great. But, while I was going through mentally, the community in Austin would be fantastic for me to, stay positive and all that.
We talk about the off the court being a huge factor, but you go to take it was a certificate degree in communications.
That's right. Yep.
Right.
That was my first year at Texas. Yeah.
At Texas, and it's a degree where I've seen you spoke about it. Like, it wasn't too challenging where you can focus on basketball.
Yep, that's right.
So talk about going to college to focus on basketball, but you're also kind of worried about this injury where you might not be able to play basketball.
Right. Yeah. So the reason I chose that degree was because at Virginia, I had just graduated my bachelor's in commerce, like business stuff. I put a lot of work into that. And I felt like, I had earned, like, I got this great degree. Like, I think I earned a little bit of a lighter workload. So Texas has this awesome, certificate program where you're taking like 12 credits a semester or something like that. So that was great for me, like you said, for the injury as well, because I had a ton of rehab I had to do on both of my shoulders during this time. So it didn't overwork me, especially when basketball came back into play. Like, I was able to start participating in practice. Now I got basketball, rehab, and school. So I was able to balance it really well. And so that was really important for me. They helped me out there a lot. It wasn't like those little UNC classes like back in the day that UNC got in trouble for. It was like fake classes and all that. Like, we were still doing real stuff.
Yeah.
It just wasn't to the, extent of like a business school.
Right.
But, eventually I got my master's degree. I turned that certificate into a master's degree in my second year. So it was a really great situation all around there. Yeah.
So once you start being able to focus a little bit more on the basketball side, you get through this injury, You switch from powerhouse ACC school to powerhouse Big 12/SEC school. What are some of the differences in the traditions at the schools?
Oh, I think the biggest one that comes to my mind is Virginia. You know, in my opinion, you think Virginia, you think it's a basketball school.
Mm-hmm.
You think Texas, it's a football school. 10 out of 10 times, 100% a football school. So for me, it was a bit different taking that back seat to football. You know, everybody's looking forward all summer to football season at Texas, and you know, basketball season comes around, they're like, oh, cool, basketball's starting. But you know, at Virginia, it's like, I can't wait for basketball season to start. That's what the fans think. So that was the biggest difference culture-wise. But all around, like, both schools have incredible athletic programs. So that was cool to, you know, go from a winning, like, all-around program to another one, and probably the highest level one in the country in Texas. So, you know, all the athletes there, your peers are like the best athletes in the country for college, and that was really cool.
Speaking of winning at Texas, if I'm not mistaken, you end up on an Elite Eight run.
No, that was the year before I got there.
That was the year before.
Yeah.
So what's it like consistently going to a program right after like this massive success?
Yeah, expectations are high. You know, they had just gone to Elite Eight with Coach Terry, who came in as the interim head coach after Coach Beard got fired, and you know, I think that the expectations are, let's do it again. And I believe we lost in the second round. Sounds right. I think we lost in the second round. So, you know, we didn't quite meet those expectations, but you know, everybody, you know, there's a bar that's set, and if you don't get there, it's pretty disappointing. Yeah. And that's.
But you're still playing in March Madness.
Me?
Yeah.
We played in March Madness that year. Yeah.
So
we lost second round. Yep.
Being in March Madness, just that environment, even if it's the first round, is electric. So talk about being in March Madness and what that was like.
I think growing up, like, everybody just watches March Madness, right? And like, I think even though basketball was my first love, like, you know, as a kid, I would always watch. I'd be like, man, that'd be awesome to play.
Always filling out a bracket.
Always, every year you got a bracket. Like, you got 5 brackets sometimes. Yeah. So, it was definitely surreal. I got upset in March Madness more times than I would like to admit. So one of the biggest ones was against Furman, but that
was when you were a 4 seed, right?
When we were a 4 seed, at Virginia against Furman, we lost. Man, it's such a special feeling. It's one that, you know, I'm holding on to forever, because like, even though like we lose those games, like the whole nation watching, you know, this is what you work for all year. Like, man, that's probably the coolest scene I've ever played on in my life is March Madness, you know, and then winning a game in March Madness like I did with Texas, that was an incredible feeling. Yeah. Yeah.
And then being around guys like David West and Jay Huff and all these big names, you went on a show hosted by DJ Augustine, Texas legend, right? Yeah. So being able to just be a guest on a show of a Texas legend, DJ Augustine, what was that like?
Really cool. You know, Texas has a lot of big-time athletes that have gone through there. And, you know, they had me go on this show, I think, after the game against Louisville, my first year at Texas. And, you know, it was really cool, you know, chop it up with those guys. And on top of that, you know, you got big-time names rolling through a facility every year. Like, I met Kevin Durant, like, twice. That was really cool. He was my favorite player growing up, so that was awesome.
Have you been able to watch Thunderstruck yet?
No.
Oh, you gotta watch it, man.
I've seen like little clips of it. I've seen clips, but I haven't watched it. But yeah, I mean, it's really cool to go to like a high level school like that, where, you know, you got superstar athletes rolling it all the time. And you get to meet them and chop it up a little bit.
So as you said, like, taking it all the way back for a second, you know, you hit this growth spurt. You were like, wow, I can maybe go play for an ACC school. You go play for an ACC school, move to the Big 12 school, that then moves to the SEC. You're consistently moving up, and you're getting surrounded by pros from a young age. When do you start thinking to yourself, maybe I can go pro?
Professional basketball, I don't think that was I didn't really realize that was in the cards maybe until after my third year at Virginia. So that first year where I played the full year. I realized that like, maybe there's something there for me. I know, you know, as I was moving up in high school, like, there was a lot of there was some noise like around me, like, yeah, this like, I could be pretty good, but I don't think I really saw like the potential of what there could be until that year at Virginia. And you know, and the year after, you know, kind of reaffirmed that, and so that's kind of why I went to Texas, because I wanted to play in that faster pace. That kind of replicates the professional basketball a little more. So I would say around that time.
And when you were thinking about professional basketball, were you thinking NBA? Did you have any talk about overseas?
The goal was 100% NBA the whole way. But I had always known, like, if I have to go overseas, like, I'm not against it.
So you were aware of like the overseas basketball?
Yeah, I was aware of it. Yep.
And now you're finishing up at Texas. You got your master's degree as well. So academics is there. So like if you wanted to do something outside of basketball, you could. But I'm sure there were agents on your phone calling you up. Were you starting to do NBA workouts after Texas? What was that summer like after Texas?
Yeah, so this past summer was pretty crazy. So my agent Anthony Coleman with Excel, I've been with him, like, he was my NIL agent, like when NIL came around, maybe my sophomore and junior year of college. He set up a lot of stuff for me, so I ended up going out to the Portsmouth Invitational Tournament for like seniors, for college basketball seniors. I played pretty well in that. I think I averaged like 11 and 10 or something, and that was really big for me. I was hoping I would get the G League Combine invite. But a few weeks before, I dislocated two of my fingers in LA, where I was training with my agency. Dislocated two of my fingers, and that kind of set me back very, very far. I was out for like a month and a half, like 6 weeks maybe, and like even when like I came back, like my hand was not anywhere near 100%. So I started doing NBA workouts like 2 weeks before the draft. I think I did 8 maybe in 14 days. So I'm flying all around the country doing those workouts for those teams, and they went pretty well for the most part. Like the first few were a little rough because I had just gotten cleared like a few days before. And then my last one was with Cleveland. I done really well, and they asked me to come play for their summer league team, and I did. So summer league was an incredible experience though. So that's kind of how that whole process went.
What was summer league like? How was that being there?
It was pretty surreal. Like
in Vegas, right?
Yeah, it was in Vegas. Yep. So I think I reported to Cleveland maybe on like July 2nd or something, and we had like a 10-day camp, and it was all so crazy to me. And we got guys on the team that were on the full-time Cavs roster. We had Tyson and a couple others, but it was a lot of work. It was a lot to take in at that time because the college game is a lot different than the NBA game. Like the concepts in the NBA are completely different. So I had 10 days to try and learn all those. We fly out to Vegas and we got like, it might have been 6 games in like 10 days or something. So and then you in the bright lights of Vegas, there's all, the casinos, the shows, all that. So it was really cool. It was like my first feeling of, wow, like I'm a professional now. Like this is what life is like. And, yeah, it was a really cool feeling. Yeah.
What's something you learned about yourself in that process? You've played in such big moments before. You played in the tournament. Now you're playing pro in summer league. Mm-hmm. What's something that you really learned about yourself?
So the best game I had in Vegas was against Miami. It was Khalil Ware was playing for the Heat during summer league, and
that was your matchup.
That was my matchup. And I didn't start any of the games in summer league, so I came off the bench and I'm watching him. He's just getting to work. I'm like, wow, this is what like a professional 5 looks like. This is crazy. Like he's hitting all these shots, making these really nice moves. I think that kind of see it right there. That was really good for me. And then I go into the game. I felt like I held my own. I think I finished with like 8 points, maybe like 2 rebounds, 3 rebounds in like 14 minutes or something.
8 points in 14 minutes?
Yeah.
That's solid.
It was something like that. I know it was 8 points. I think it was 14 minutes. And I felt really good about that after. And I think what I learned about myself is that I can play professional basketball. I can compete with these guys. Like I still have a lot to learn, and that's something else I learned about myself. I can get a lot better, but like the groundwork is there. And I think that's what I walked away with.
Were one of the things that you learned, you talk about Khalil Ware being a 5 who would shoot the ball, he could put the ball on the ground. Is that something that you learned as well? Like now if you want to be a pro and be a 5, you also have to be doing these playmaking things as well?
Yeah, I think that, the best 5s in the league, like, Jokic and all of them, like they're able to dribble the ball. But I also know that, I was able to play against other 5s who don't do that as much, and they're able to impact the game just in different ways, whether it be rolling on the rim, lobs, rebounds, blocking shots, just being really good in your role. And that's something that they talked to me about leading up to summer league is like, we want you to be good at two things. We want you to be a rim protector. I want to say the other one was like lob threat. I think those were two. Mm-hmm. And so if you're good in your role, like you'll be able to carve out a space for you on the professional stage.
Do you think the 5 still needs to know how to shoot the 3 right now?
I think so. Actually, let me say, I don't think it's 100% necessary. If you're really dominant inside, then you're fine without the 3. But I think that that 5 shooting, being able to stretch the floor and shoot a 3 and make the defense respect you all around helps out the entire offense because for spacing reasons, yeah.
Something we always hear is, what's a role player in the NBA? A millionaire.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
like, you find that grasp of what you are. And same thing with just making you go pro. So you play in the summer league. You play really well in the summer league. You start looking overseas. Can you walk us through kind of what that process was like?
Yeah, so after summer league, I kind of, the goal for me for summer league was to try and hopefully earn a 2-way. That was my goal. I knew that I was going to perform really well. I really only had that one. That was my best game, was against Miami. So probably needed to do a bit more than that. But I knew that after the fact. So I had E10 offers to stay in the G League on E10, but at the same time I was fielding offers from overseas. And for me, it's kind of like, I know how it goes in the G League with there's a bit of politics at play, if we're being honest about it. And, you got to look over your back sometimes because you got the guys coming down from the 2-ways to, take a lot of minutes, take a lot of shots, guys coming down for assignments. So, for me, it was kind of like, do I want to go ahead and start my career over in Europe? Because, if I go G League for a year and I come over to Europe, it's still like I'm starting from square one. They don't really care what I did in the G League. Mm-hmm. But if I just go to Europe now, I'm starting right now. I'm getting ahead of it early. Like I'm starting my career and setting myself up for the long run. And for me, I didn't really want to take that risk of messing around with the G League because I know a lot of guys can get stuck there. And I talked to guys that have gone overseas. Like, I wasn't thrilled about the idea. Like, I'm going to be completely honest. But I talked to guys that have been overseas. They're like, bro, you're going to love it. It's awesome. Like, trust me. Still wasn't excited. But I'm out here now. I love it. It's great.
And feeling the overseas, were you getting calls from different areas? Talk about that.
Yeah, my agent fielded a lot of the calls. I had quite a few from Israel, actually. Italy. Maybe Germany. I'm kind of blanking.
Yeah.
But yeah.
When you hear like Israel, and like there's all these politics going on with the war and stuff like that, were you calling up other guys that you knew that came in play here? What kind of like solidified your decision to come play in Israel?
100%. Because at the time, I think like 2 months prior, there was the whole attack from
Iran.
Yeah. Those videos were crazy. And like when I'm seeing these videos, like I think I was literally like in the airport going to another NBA workout. I was like, man, this is insane. Like, it must be crazy living there right now. And now I'm here. And so, I talked to some guys out here. I talked to Elijah Childs, who's my teammate now. I was like, hey, how do you like it? At the time, they were Gilboa Galil. I was like, how do you like it in that area? It's like, it's great. Talked to some guys that played for Ramadan. They're all like, what we see in the news isn't exactly how it is out here. Like, it's not like that every day. Like, there's not actually like, it was like a one-off thing. It was pretty much what they told me. And like they were like, life out here is great. It's really similar to America. And that was really helpful. That kind of set me at ease. I was like, okay, cool, I'll be safe. And yeah, that they really helped me blur all that out.
Is that how you're feeling now? You've been here for about 3 months now?
Yeah.
Is that correct? So been here for about 3 months. What have you kind of liked off the court? Is it like what they said? It's kind of like America. What can you say about being here in Israel?
So for me, it's hard because I can't compare it to other countries because I haven't been to other countries, but I think it's pretty similar to America. Like obviously it's not the same thing, but like this might be as close as you can get maybe. But I feel really safe. And then off the court, you got, great food, great people. The people are super nice. A lot of people speak English. Most of the people speak English, I would say. And, it's all been a really great setup. Like, I love it here. I think it's amazing. That's how I feel about it. Yeah.
Talking about a little bit on the court, how do you find coming from these big programs to Israeli basketball? What do you find unique or different about Israeli basketball?
For me, yeah, coming from those big programs, like I was like last year, I was in that big city of Austin. Now I'm in Ghan. I'm kind of like in this little village.
Yeah.
So it's a complete 180. Like it's Charlottesville is a college town. This isn't even a college town. This is a little village, and the community there super tight knit, which is really cool. On the basketball side of things, I would say that basketball out here in Europe, a lot of the concepts are pretty similar to college basketball. There's a lot of structure, a lot less one-on-one play than like the NBA. The NBA, I feel like you're relying on like a couple guys to go get some buckets and like score more than the other team. That's how I feel about it. Out here, I think it's really, really team oriented. And I think that's good for me. I think that appeals to me.
Being out here, loving the game, is that something that kind of pulls you more to the European side of basketball?
Oh yeah. I think that is awesome. This is my first time like watching like any EuroLeague, for example. I think that like the crowd and all that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Have you been keeping up with EuroLeague since you came out?
Just a little bit. I can't just check in. I gotta figure out how to get my TV to work. I'm not to be honest.
You gotta go to the games. The games are out here in Israel.
Yeah, they came back, right? Yeah. So I want to go to like a Maccabi game or a Hapoel game this month. It is really cool that they're back here in Israel, so I want to go see that. And just the scene on the EuroLeague is just amazing. Like,
as a basketball fan, do you like the way the game is played more, like in the EuroLeague rather than the NBA?
Yeah. I was talking about this the other day. And I don't blame the NBA guys, but the season in the NBA is so long.
Yeah.
And like I'm thinking about myself, like if I had to go play 82 games, like what level am I going to give like of effort on defense every night? Like me, like I'm gonna try my hardest, but what is my body going to allow me to do? And you're playing 3 or 4 games out there in the U.S. A week, and here you're playing 1 or 2 games, and each game matters so much. Like there's so much at stake that guys are like flying around, and you're seeing games like the games are 8 minutes shorter, but you're seeing games like in the 70s, in the 60s, maybe in the 80s. Like there's a lot of effort, a lot of guys like really playing hard because the games they're just more important.
Right.
Regular season.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of wear and tear in the NBA. Like you said, 82 games is so much.
It's
and
insane.
Even though it's only 8 minutes, 8 minutes can like be a lot, right?
Yep.
And I saw this little clip of LeBron and Steve Nash talking about it. Like, what about changing the quarters to 10 minutes instead of 12 minutes?
Right.
But they would never do that because it would like screw up all the stats and the history and everything.
So they're kind of in a tough spot there.
It's really interesting. But coming from a high major college basketball team, just like we said, what's the first thing overseas exposed about your game that college didn't?
That's tough. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I would say the guards in college basketball are really quick, but I think that the guards that are professionals, like they're really quick and crafty, and like I'm switching on the guards like a lot. Like we switch a lot, and sometimes they catch me with the hezzy. There's that guy from Ghan, Segu. He caught me like 2 times
tough.
on that hezzy. I'm like, what is this? I'm like, what is this? It felt like I got a stun grenade thrown at me, and that's the biggest thing is I thought I was quick in college. I gotta be quicker. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah.
So then, as you come in now as a pro, you were starting a lot of your college career as you went on. On nights where your role's a little bit smaller now that you're a rookie on a team, what's that like mentally for you?
I take it in stride because I'm a rookie, I know, and I have I try and be patient with myself. Just as I said earlier, my teammates are patient with me, and I know my role on the team is to be the big guy. I'm the tallest one on the court in a lot of games, and trying to rebound, get those putbacks, be a lob threat, and all that. I don't try and do too much or play out of body. But at the same time, like my teammates trust in me to give me the ball and still score. So I would almost say my usage is probably higher this year than it has been any of my years in college, which is great, and it's been a great adjustment for me, and I've really enjoyed it. So
it's incredible.
Yeah.
And if you could go back to your last year at Texas or Virginia, what would you tell yourself before turning pro?
So I think I would tell myself that my first year, I can't expect everything to click right away. That's what I would tell myself. I'm a rookie. mistakes are going to happen. There's going to be learning curves. There's going to be growth throughout the season. I can't expect to come in on day one and just be like extremely dominant. I want to be as dominant as I can be, but like I'm still learning things out here. I'm learning things that I hadn't learned before from my American teammates that have been out around the block.
Yeah.
From my coaches who, Coach Sharon is really big time around Israel out here. So just take every day in stride, I think.
You came from like Texas and Virginia, these high major colleges, like we've been talking about. The big men on these teams, on your opponents' teams, they're always like true big men.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Coming out here, have you felt it's been a little bit easier in your role as the 5, just because the guys maybe aren't as big? Like you have the Jerusalem, the Tel Avivs, but in the other clubs, you don't really have those true 5s. Has that maybe been a little bit easier for you?
Maybe a little bit, yeah. Hapoel's got some really big guys, so that's similar to college. I haven't played Maccabi, but I would say like while I'm taller than some of the other 5s, like most of them are probably like 2 inches shorter than me, or something like that. But they got like grown man strength. That's the adjustment for me. Is like in college, like. I'm in my 6th year. I'm supposed to have the grown man strength, But now I'm playing guys that are 5 years older than me, and that's where they have the advantage on me now. So I gotta.
You think it's a lot more physical here than where you were playing in college? Because you were playing in some physical games in college as well.
SEC basketball, physical.
SEC,
physical.
Big 12 was insane.
Yeah.
Physically. I wouldn't say it's more physical. Nah, maybe on par. I was. The basketball they were playing in SEC and Big 12 is something crazy. It was bodies hitting each other, especially the Big 12. Yeah.
Speaking about comparisons, I want to introduce a segment that we have called Myth or Facts. Right. So what we'll do is we'll lay out some myth or facts about college versus overseas, and you just tell if it's a myth or a fact. And you can expand on it a little bit.
Okay.
All right. So I'll start with the first one. So myth or fact: the jump from high major college basketball to overseas pro ball is bigger mentally than it is physically.
Fact.
Fact.
Yeah. Especially if you've never been out of the country before. I think it's really off the court things, trying to build your routine. The first couple weeks for me, insanely difficult. But once I got in a routine, like I started like feeling much better, and in turn basketball started becoming better for me because I was less stressed. But I think it's a big jump.
Is this your first time outside of America?
I went to how the colleges do like the little international trip. So we did the 10-day trip in Italy. That's the longest I'd been out of.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I don't like. That's like a week and a half.
Did y'all play against the pro team?
Yeah, we played against the Serbian team, Mega Basket.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow, Mega Basket.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what was that like? You kind of got a taste of the overseas basketball then?
Yeah. Man, I think they had a couple guys that maybe got drafted at like these past couple years, but.
Mega Basket's like Jovic, I think. Yeah.
The pink team.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had a great game. I had a great game. So it was really fun. But it was cool. They had a lot of good players. Like the teams we had played before that, they were kind of like, but they were legit. And like, that was my first time seeing like, okay, like this is what European basketball looks like. The style of play and all that. The 5s that are really skilled. Like, they might not be the most athletic, but like they're able to put the ball on the floor, like you said.
Super smart.
Yeah, smart players.
Yeah. So myth or fact? College prepares you for the game, but not for the business side of professional basketball.
I would say myth now.
Because of the NIL.
Because of NIL, yeah. Maybe my first 2 years of college, like I wouldn't have known what it was like to have money.
Yes, maybe speak a little bit about having your first 2 years, no NIL, then you kind of are introduced to NIL, but it's not really NIL, and then you really get to experience NIL. What was that whole process?
I got the whole process, yeah. So the first 2 years of college, I think my stipend was like, or my first year was like $400 a month. But I lived in like a dorm, so it was really $400 for me to have for food or whatever. And I had my free dining hall, but I was able to live off that. And like at the time, I was like, cool, I'm getting $400 a month. This is awesome. Like second year, I moved into an apartment. I think we're getting like $1,400 a month. Rent's like $500. We were like kind of in the gutter at Virginia, and so I got $900 to spend on stuff. I'm like, wow, this is the life. The NIL rolls around and we get like a little more money. I'm like, great, it's fantastic. My last 2 years of college, that's when the big money started happening for college basketball. And it was a really great opportunity for me to learn more about what it's like to run yourself as a business, pretty much. I learned a lot about investing. I learned a lot about how to manage my money properly, taxes, all that stuff. And I think that those were really valuable lessons to learn. But at the same time, like now I'm looking back on it my freshman and sophomore year. I don't know how I was surviving like that. But it's good though. I think that college athletes should be getting paid. Is it a little out of control now? Probably. But it taught me a lot of lessons before becoming an actual professional. So, which
is super needed, because there's a lot of guys who go pro, they get their check and they don't save, they don't invest or whatever, and then they're done with their career and
where do they all go?
Right. Yeah. So learning about it in college is huge.
Yep. That's a benefit in NIL that most people don't talk about. But there probably does need to be more education for the guys making NIL like that. There needs to be more. But
maybe a
you gotta
college
take it upon
class.
yourself. Yeah, a college class would be good. Yeah. So I kind of took it upon myself. So
yeah,
NIL is so rapidly developing. It'll be crazy to see what it even looks like next year.
Yeah.
2 years from now. So, myth or fact? Rookies overseas get more freedom to make mistakes than freshmen did in college.
I would say I'm gonna go with fact. I think that my coaches have let me get away with a lot of mistakes that they'll let my teammates get away with. I'd like to think it's just because it's my first year and I'm still figuring it out. As the season's gone on, they expect more of me. Oh, you can't don't mess up plays. And all that. Obviously, but
some rules.
Yeah. For example, the travel rule out here is so different to me.
You gotta put
the ball down first.
Yeah.
I was traveling so much. So, I have so many moving screens. I got all this stuff. They're patient with me on that stuff. As long as I'm showing progress throughout the time. Freshman in college, the rules and all that is still the same. The expectations of what you're supposed to be able to do are all the same. So.
Is it also trippy you can't call a timeout either?
I haven't tried that. Rafi Minko warned me about that.
Yeah.
He said you're going to look stupid if you try and call a timeout.
You can't call a timeout in Europe as a player.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they told me that before the first game.
Why?
Yeah. I don't know.
Great question.
He was like, bro, don't do it. You'll look stupid. And then you'll turn the ball over.
Because nothing happens. It's not like a tech or something. It's just they're not going to call timeout.
They just look at you like you're crazy.
All right. So myth or fact? Coaches overseas care more about winning today than developing you long term.
I can only speak on my situation, but I'm going to say myth. I think that my coaches put a lot of work into me. They see things in me that maybe I don't see yet. They tell me you have what it takes to become a EuroLeague player someday. And so they work with me on the side a lot. They show me film. They explain things to me and break it down to me so I fully understand why they want me doing certain things. While at the same time really caring about winning right now, because at the end of the day, their job's on the line too.
Right.
Everybody's job is on the line. So, for my situation, I'm gonna go with myth.
Yeah.
But
so
maybe for other people, that might be true.
Talking about coaches, you had Tony Bennett at Virginia, you had a great coach at Texas, and now it's your first year overseas. What's the coaching differences that you've kind of picked up just being here for a few months?
That's a good question. I think coaching differences. I would say in college I had two different types of coaches. Coach Bennett was a really laid back coach, and when he would raise his voice or yell, you would know okay, something's really going on here.
Yeah.
So that
you
style of
fix
coach.
it.
He was really laid back style of coach. Coach Terry was a really vocal coach, really passionate. He's yelling a lot, which is cool. He expects a lot from us. Here, I think that he's right. He's right in that middle. Where he's really serious a lot of the time. He expects a lot of us. But I've seen Coach crack some jokes with us, laugh and all that. But so that style of coaching, he cares about us, but at the same time, he expects a ton from us. That's what I would say.
I think it's super important that you say he has to be kind of fun at times too, because over here overseas, your team is your family.
Yep.
Those are your guys. You're battling out. You're here living your life.
Mm-hmm.
when you're in the States, you can go hang out with your friends off the court, and like it's still a family, but like you have the privilege of being in the States and kind of just
also, especially because some of these teams overseas are in, as you said, you live somewhere where there's 2,000 people.
Yep.
Like your teammates are half the town. So it's like, you gotta figure out.
Yep.
Yeah. So all right. So myth or fact? Being a starter in college doesn't mean anything once you're a rookie pro.
100% fact. Yeah, that's a fact. Your college resume helps you get to a certain level in Europe, but once you get to Europe, that's square one. Like, you're starting from scratch. You got to earn everything from there, and like nobody cares what you did in college. Like, I mean, like,
Clean
maybe
slate.
if you won a national championship, they're like, awesome, like, congrats. Like, other than that, like,
Maybe you
it's
get a little bit
clean
more of a
slate.
bonus on the contract.
Yeah. Like, okay, like, you're a winner. Like, we'll give you like a little more money, maybe. But nah, like, it's a clean slate, square one, and it's like being a freshman all over again. Like, you have to make your name out here because nobody out here knows what you did in college, really.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the scouts do, but other than that, like, the fans don't. Your teammates don't. Like, the coaches probably might not know. Yeah.
I think this is going to be an easy one. Overseas teams expect imports to adjust immediately, not gradually.
I'm gonna go with myth because it depends on who. For a rookie, I think that for at least for me in my situation, I've had time to adjust gradually. I think it would be a fact for like some of the veteran guys because I know for some of my teammates, like, they expect that to start clicking earlier for them, and so I think it's a mix of both there. Yeah.
So myth or fact? The margin for error overseas is smaller than it ever was in college.
I think that's a fact based off what I've seen from other teams and other players, because you can get cut out here.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. You can wake up one day, they text you and like have you come in. They'll tell you like we're going separate ways. Like that's crazy. That's not anything that would happen in college ever. So the margin of error is definitely smaller because if you're not winning, that's your job. If you're not performing, that's your job. Then you're gonna have to find a new job. So it's a fact. Yeah.
All right, last one. Myth or fact, life off the court overseas affects your performance more than anything basketball related.
Fact. I'm gonna say fact. Because like I said earlier, I'm thinking back to his first 2 weeks here, and man, I was struggling. Like, I was barely eating. I didn't know like who to talk to, like on my team and all that.
Right.
They're speaking two languages at practice. There's a lot going on mentally. I'm like, nah, I don't think I'm cut out for this. And that definitely showed on the court those first 2 weeks. I felt like I looked like the worst player in the world. Like, and as I started again that routine, I started to, build relationships with my teammates, build relationships with my coaches. Like, my performance quickly went up. And so I think that, mentally, it affects you on the
during
court.
those first few weeks out here, were you kind of like thinking, oh, maybe I should do the G League route? It's safer to be in the States.
Yeah. I was texting my mom. I'm like, Mom, look, like, this is my second day out here. I'm like, I need you to fly out this weekend. Like, I can't do this. Like, she's like, you're gonna figure it out. I did. So yeah.
And then you have a girlfriend who lives in the States.
Yes.
Right. And then she's visiting. She's out here. Shout out. What's it like having to balance overseas in your pro career while also having your girlfriend and your family at home in the States and you're out here independently?
Yeah. So the time difference definitely is interesting. So she lives on the West Coast, so we have a 10-hour time difference.
Boy.
So
it might help because you wake up.
That's what I've been trying to tell people. I don't think it's that bad because I wake up in the morning. Like, as long as I go to sleep at a normal time, I wake up in the morning. She's still awake for a couple hours. We get to talk. Then she wakes up at like 5:30 our time, and I can talk to her as late as I want. So I get talk to her in the morning and at night. But as for like the East Coast people, I wake up and it's already like 2 a.m.
Yeah,
or like my parents are asleep, so like I have that time in the afternoon and night to talk to them. But I think that it's important to call your people when you can. I talk to her literally all day, like when I'm after she wakes up and she's not in practice, because that's the only way to keep relationships going is just communication.
Right.
And then I have to. The good thing is that my basketball normally is in the morning while everybody's asleep, which is perfect. So like I have my own thing going on anyways while they're all asleep. So
as we're wrapping up, growing up in Raleigh, North Carolina, Virginia, Texas, first year out here as a rookie, someone who's going along your path, playing at high major sports and are kind of debating, should I do the G League route? Should I take the E10 or should I go overseas and start my European career? What's some advice that you would give someone in your shoes like that?
I would just say that everybody has their own journey. And if, I don't knock anybody that wants to take the G League route. I just think that it's smart to know, the benefits and the risk of it. Like benefits, like you could earn your way to the NBA. Like that's awesome. Risk, you could get stuck in the G League forever and get stuck chasing that NBA dream. So it's really about what you value. If you want to, go somewhere where you're going to be important, where you could like build a really good long career, like go ahead and take that jump overseas. Like, there's a lot out here for you, a lot of fun things to do. The basketball is great, the people are great. But if you really, really want to make the NBA, like I'm not going to knock you. Like go ahead, like try the G League. For me, if I would have tried the G League, it would have been for a year or two max. And if I didn't see any movement, I would have came out here.
Right.
So I think if you're going to try G League, you got to set a deadline on when you want to see some movement. Definitely. Or else you're going to get stuck there.
But you also see guys from overseas going to the NBA. So it's not just G League NBA.
Yeah, and they scout the, this is what my agent told me. They scout the overseas, just as they do the G League these days.
Right.
And if a team really likes you, like they'll keep watching you. If you decide to go overseas, like they're not going to be like, oh, cool, we don't want him anymore. Like, no, if they like you, they'll still watch you. And like, guys go from overseas and still go play in summer league. You'll still have that opportunity if you want it. And
so, being your first year overseas in Israel, what have you loved about Israel? What are kind of your goals to set out for off the court being overseas in Israel by yourself for this first year?
Yeah, the food's been great. I was a little hesitant at first, but I love it now. My favorite thing about Israel though is Shabbat. That's my favorite. Yeah. Friday night Shabbat dinner. I get invited to some of those. I try to go to a lot of Shabbat dinners. Some people in the village invite me to theirs. A couple of people on staff invite me to theirs. So I think it's a really cool concept because you guys live in the States. It's like Thanksgiving every Friday.
Yeah.
Like it's awesome.
Yeah.
Like we don't have anything like that in the United States. Like we got that 2 times a year, like maybe Thanksgiving dinner and Christmas dinner. Other than that, like I don't remember ever sitting down at a table with my family at my house for
weekly.
Weekly, like ever. So yeah, that's really cool. And then I also like the history that's here, especially in Jerusalem, that area. Now I'm not like a religious person, but like I can respect the history. Like I went to Jerusalem when my mom came and visited, and I learned a lot and got to see really cool things that that I know my buddies back home that are really into that stuff. Like they would love to see it. Right. So yeah, I really try and use this opportunity to explore all the history, the culture around me, and really try and indulge in it.
What are some goals you have for the rest of the year?
Basketball wise, or
in general?
Both.
I'd say basketball wise, we want to finish top 4 in the league.
Yes, sir.
That's the goal.
That's where you guys are on track.
Yeah, I don't know what we're in. I think we're in 3rd right now.
I think it would be a shock to Israel if North team won the whole thing.
It would be. And, they were telling us, I think in 2020, they made the championship, I think they told us.
Okay.
And they told us that, they're getting a lot of same vibes from our team. So we want to be that team that does something special. So that's the goal for this year for me basketball-wise, is to get top 4. Go ahead and put my name on the map.
Double-double?
Israel,
Average a double-double?
Averaging a double-double. We're 9 games this season. That might be a stretch at this point. I think I'm only averaging like 6 rebounds. So we're not going to get there. But go ahead and put my name on the map in Israel.
10 boards, 5 boards.
So there we go. I had 2 rough games to start the year. So I've been playing
there's still a lot of games to play.
We got that gradual climb, like I said, for a rookie throughout the year. So but like I said, top 4, put my name on the map in Europe and Israel, and then off the court, just continue to dive into the culture, learn things, go see more things that I haven't seen yet. I don't know what else there is to see, but I'm sure I'll go find some things. There's always stuff. There's always stuff. So I'm really just blessed for the opportunity. I'm just trying to make the most of it. And,
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Well said. So one last segment, and we'll leave you. But we got this shot clock segment. It's gonna be rapid fire questions, and you could pass if you need. Let's get it.
All right. You want to start first?
Yeah, I'll start.
All right, ready? 3, 2, 1.
College refs or overseas refs?
College.
Hardest thing to adjust to overseas? Food, language, or the refs?
Language.
Where's more trash talk, college or overseas?
College.
Biggest welcome to pro basketball moment?
Segu's Hezi.
Worst travel experience so far? Bus, flight, or hotel?
Bus.
Shawarma or falafel?
Shawarma.
Mountains or beaches?
Beaches.
Nice. Hell yeah. Hell yeah,
All
man.
right. Well, we
Appreciate it.
appreciate you for coming. Thank you. Best of luck in the rest of the year.
Thank you.
We're hoping to see a win in the first league.
Yeah.
And yes, sir.
Great. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you.
Let's go.